Lord, that you continue to mold us into the people and to the group that you want us to be. And invite your Holy Spirit in today, Lord, and just continue to just have your way. And I just give you praise for it right now in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Miss Barbara.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, guys.
Well, thank you for the guidance. I thank you, Lord, that you continue to mold us.
There we go. I was like, are you going to keep going?
I sounded like Jim Rohn.
I know, right? It's hard to hear your own voice, isn't it? Like, you don't understand that. It's a real thing. It really is. It's because it sounds different, huh, Barbara? Like when you hear it?
It did. I thought it was a man.
I know. It's so bad. I feel you. 100% I feel you. Okay, guys. Well, good morning. For those of you guys who don't know, there was a ton of U.S. stuff this morning. So like I was saying, let's be careful in terms of how we chase a trade. We want to definitely stay with the direction it's going and or overprotect a bit because a lot of that's reactive trading. So I'm not sure if Mr. Scott is on this morning, but I did want to see if we can't go over MACD version 13 because I went ahead and I finally got done with my traveling and I've got it on all bajillion brokers and I got to say, I kind of love it and I can show you exactly why. So we will go over that as well. For those of you who don't know, guys, I'm all for burning the boats, as Tony Robbins would say, but this is a high risk activity. So please don't trade what you cannot afford to lose. Now, I'm going to be your biggest advocate and the biggest person in your life who says that whereas most things, yeah, they come off like a pipe dream, this is probably one of the easiest, as long as you can manage your psychology. Let me put that disclaimer in there. The easiest business designs, entrepreneurship, industries that I have ever experienced if you can control the you factor of this equation. I kid you not. Of everything else, if we wanted to go buy a franchise for a Hotworks, it doesn't matter. Real estate, even, this is it doesn't get any better than this, at least not if you're asking me. So I'm all for, going all in, just do so in a way that's not going to cost you your home. So as you know, I'm not your financial advisor, not your attorney. I probably would not make a very good, I don't know, whatever. I guess I would make a good attorney maybe. But anyways, I'm not any of those things. I'm just another person on the other line of this computer and here kind of learning and growing with you. So as you guys know, we're looking for a handful of trades. And as I start doing the other trading strategy, I've got a couple more templates like this to pull up. So we'll have it a little bit clearer. But for right now, this is still the one that's edited and most recent or most pertinent, I guess you could say. So you guys know we're looking for a couple of trades. I don't know how the market's going to react. We got some really amazing ones Tuesday. Let's hope we can get a couple today. It's your responsibility to decide on lot sizes. And we'll go over that real quick in terms of indices as well. But it's 100% up to you. How you manage, take profit, stop loss, all of that is way too many unknown variables for me to decide for you based off of the different brokers, leverage, pairs, account sizes, and appetites for risk. So trades are called on the 1 minute or 5 minutes. So speed is key. And the even if we're using the same everything, there's still going to be a variation. So please don't freak out. Oh my gosh, mine is different. Just time alone, there's a lag. There's all this other stuff that I don't want to try to be smart enough to explain. So either way, it's okay that there's a difference. Just know that for the most part, any ethical broker price is going to end up touching or going or being at the same place. It just they operate a little bit slower and different on different brokers and platforms across the board and time zones even. So in general, we're going for about 10 to 15 pips on a Forex pair, 150 on an index, and my target is about 333. You guys know I like my random numbers, but also it's a really easy target to hit on NAS and on US 30 and on German 30 with almost, so even on those baby moves that are kind of like fake outs and not even like the legit reversals and directions, getting my 300 pips is easy. So of course I want more, when I can, but I'd rather consistently get what I know I can than hope and pray for more and then oftentimes taking a loss or overprotecting and closing with next to nothing. So there's that. Best practice, and this is what I want to talk about as we go over that newer version of the MACD, because this is the complete puzzle. Like I keep saying this, and I know Scott is like a computer genius, but I literally don't think there is anything else we can add to this strategy. We can tweak or we can improve now that this version 13 is out. And I can kind of show you why. This is the all-inclusive. Kat called it the golden strategy, and it works, and it works on multiple time frames. It's kind of amazing. So I'll show you exactly why I would say that There's nothing else you need. As long as you can learn to see this, and you can add or take whatever helps you see it, it's potentially life-changing. So best practice for you guys or for me is I like to close if the fast MACD crosses or the slow MACD crosses or even the next higher time frame MACD crosses. And it just allows me to kind of hold in the trend. I'm going to stay in it. I mean, if it doesn't give me enough reason to get out of it, and that's the best way to be. So stop loss should be above structure or below structure. I mean, all the numbers that we can add, and oh, I want a 20 pip, or I want a 50 pip, or I want a 10 pip stop loss is great in theory, but it's not practical in application. So let's try to do something that is practical and is valid and duplicatable. So that would mean putting your stop loss above or below structure. And if it's too much of a stop loss, you have to skip the trade. That needs to be part of the trading rules. As you guys know, I'm pretty big on that whole let's create a manageable personal budget. If you look at this as a business and you look at this over the course of the year, some of you guys have been in this group for a while. Others come and go. They come and they listen and they back off, trying to get out of their own heads, which is great. And I'll be here just to kind of help you grow. But if we can look at this as this, 6-month venture, as this 1-year venture that says, here's my cost of doing business, right? Because every business has one. This is how much I have to reload. This is what I will do to get that money, or what I need to do to afford that money. Here's, the cost of my internet, or the cost of my computer upgrades, my memberships, if I have TradingView, whatever. This is my cost of business. And as long as I hit this, even a couple of times in a year, it takes all of the stress out, all of the wondering, all of the worrying. If you can just, there's a Bible verse, and one of my old mentors used to say something along the lines of, progress, not perfection. So like just focus on perfecting the action and the results will come. So there's a Bible verse that's, focus on perfecting this, and then the results will come. So that's my mindset on all that. As you know, I'm super big on questions and interaction. I feel like we have a lot to offer each other, including me. There's different ways of seeing things. And then plus I learn a better way of talking to you, so everybody else benefits. So if you have insight, if you have a different perspective, I promise I will not be offended or take it as an offense, in any shape, way, an attack against me if you see things differently. In fact, I welcome the contrarian kind of mindsets. I welcome the agreeing mindsets, so we can evolve and we can grow together. So that's how we do so. And of course, just basic hangout, so you guys can talk whenever. Last but not least, how to compound. You guys know this is it. When I say I don't have some massive skill, I mean it. I was probably just like the rest of you guys, thinking MT4 was a joke, because it kind of is. Thinking I will never be able to load a template. I can't figure out an indicator.
Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning.
To interrupt, I just noticed gold is breaking the 4-hour trend line. I just wanted to.
All right, let's take a look. Is it buying or selling? Buying. I don't hear you. Let me.
Naz is running away too.
I'll continue. Okay, let's take a look.
Yeah, Naz is going crazy.
I had a pending order. Oh, it activated and it already closed, so that's good. German 30 is getting ready to activate, so that just activated. If you guys are looking for an entry, it's a risky entry, but I'm in German 30 as of right now, so that's a fresh entry. You already missed the entry. Well, we already missed the entry on NAS, but that other one is still valid. So let's take a look. Here we go. Share. Stop share. Okay, let's try that again. So share portion of this screen. Oh man, now it's not going to let me. So I have to share the whole thing. And now I'll have control to share half of the thing. Sorry, that's a Zoom glitch. It's something that I don't love. And now I can actually control this box. There we go. Perfect. So I had drawn this wedge actually before class to see if it would break out. And when it broke out, I had an entry pending. I didn't really want the downside just because it wasn't as safe, but that's already in and I'm already done. But if you're looking for a right now entry before we have time to do any analysis, it might just be German 30. Provided we do need that wick to close. So I'll go to that as soon as possible. Let me protect my profit on NAS. And I missed US 30. That sucks. US 30 was beautiful, but that's again news-based. So we know where that's from. Okay, as fast as possible, guys. This is NAS. I don't need to pop up to the higher time frames. You know, we're at all-time highs, but we were kind of consolidating. We were forming this flag pattern, which it's not necessarily a guaranteeing continuation, but I definitely think it's a continuation. It wasn't, notice it wasn't slanting up to give us a down, and it wasn't slanting down to give us an up. So it's a very neutral flag pattern. So that is where we're at on that. And we finally got the breakout. So the breakout. Now, any move trade we take from here on out, we just broke the next level of structure. You wait for the retest and then you take another buy, but just protect it because we're at all-time highs. I mean, there's nowhere to go but up. And with all the news and stuff, you have to kind of trade that mindfully. US 30 is going crazy. And that one's way better.
Yes,
way
it is.
better. Oh man, I missed that one.
Man.
Hold on, I gotta measure what I missed on that one. Don't judge. I never worry about what I missed, but on this one, I didn't set the pending order. I set a pending order on NAS and a pending order on German 30. God, that's almost 1,000 pips in like 10 minutes.
Can I ask where you set the pending order? I'm just curious.
On which one?
On NAS.
Okay, so my entry is, let's find out. On NAS, it was 11997.46. Again, that's 11997.46. And then my pending order on German 30, which is now up 78-ish pips, was set at 13183.48. And that one looks like it's going to pull back a little.
Okay, thank you. It's kind of useful just to have an idea, because all those boxes, I was like, yeah, I don't know what to do with this. So it's kind of interesting to see what you might have seen.
Well, here's what I was seeing on NAS. So on NAS, we see this kind of wedge formation, right? And notice how it's not slanting up, which would indicate, you know, a down move. It's not slanting down, which would indicate an up move, you know, a continuation. This is a very neutral flag, so it could potentially pop off either direction. Again, it's all theory based, but those are the rules that, you know, we're taught, right? So
yes,
we broke out of this area, and I don't know where that's at on this broker. We just needed it to kind of break that flag. So that's 11992. I needed a little bit above that fractal, right? So
yes.
this is not where mine was. I don't want it to be like stuck in that consolidation. So I wanted something that was above and beyond that. I didn't want to be playing in that area. And that's how I saw that.
Makes sense. Can I ask one more question?
Absolutely, please do.
So prior to the purple box, I see these two fractal arrows and they're ascending. So as you mentioned, the flag pattern, was that also a factor in that there wasn't like, okay, it had a huge spike and then it dropped. It came up to a certain point and then it went into this flag pattern. Therefore, if I go just a little higher, I'm playing from a safe spot.
Yeah, well, if I understand your question correctly, yes. So I don't want to, a lot of people say, well, hey, we made a higher high. And in computer, you know, world, where you're right. Technically, you made a higher high. That's why you got a new fractal. But we don't want to get stuck in all that nonsense. So I always go a little bit above that. Especially with something like an index that just, you know, pops off every direction. So I don't want to play with any of that stuff at all.
Mind you, this
makes
is all
sense.
happening. This is all happening before the opening bell as well.
But
yeah, I don't know what's going to happen at 9:30.
That was all because of that massive amount of news we had this morning. So that's what it comes down to. That's what
Jenny,
That makes sense.
Fed Powell is giving a speech right now, so it might be a response to that.
it definitely could be. It definitely could be. Let's see. Who was that?
That was me, Akbarat. I looked at it before the news, before 9 o'clock, to see what was happening with the indices. And I noticed, I think US 30 was, you know, hitting up and down, and the same thing, NAS didn't look too good to me. And I kind of decided to stay out. Now I feel like, but even if I were to place a trade, I honestly wasn't sure exactly which way, because I was getting arrows both ways. What would you recommend I do next time? Just to do a pending order, like you did above the fractal level, where you showed earlier?
Okay, so let's analyze. So I'm currently in, and I'm in drawdown on German 30. So I will hold that trade until I'm given a reason not to, guys. I'm going to hold that trade. So real quick, let's go through each of these pairs, and then I'll show you kind of what I saw. I caught a baby amount of pips on US 30 this morning, but then I had to wait. And of course, now I missed the major move, but I was yapping is why. Lord knows that's the truth. So one thing at a time. What we're waiting on now is obviously we need this candle to close. So this is a bigger time frame. So I'm going to pop down now. So we're officially above structure. That's where we're at. Are we going to get our full retracement down? Plus we've got opening bell. Well, I don't know. And I don't think there's any super clear way to know. It's okay. Not the end of the world, but we do want to wait. Even if you go to the 1 minute chart, we want to wait for one more confirmation. And since we're at all time highs, we need to protect it, accordingly, because this could shoot off 1,000 pips in your favor. And it can also just tickle these areas and then just play here. We have no way of knowing. So that's how I would personally trade NAS, in my preference personally. Now on this same screen, before I go to the other ones, I want to show you exactly what I saw in terms of US 30 and why I liked that one. So US 30, I took, keep in mind these trend lines adjust, but I took the first break of the trend line and everything was lining up. So I got this little bit of a move, it pulled down, and actually I didn't even get all of it because I protected. And then I pulled down, so I got some of it. And of course we were talking when all this stuff happened. So actually that makes more sense. See this ugly wick? That's where I got in. So I got in, protected it. I got my, I don't know, I think that was 150 pips out of it. So 15, on a Forex pair. And then this all happened while we were talking, but this was enough for me. So ADX momentum is good. This is the 15-minute time frame. We've got a buy arrow. The fast MACD is up. We've broken a trend line. I don't need $1 bajillion. I don't need $1 bajillion pips. I just needed some of that move. So this little baby wick that even pulled back, okay, got me my 150 pips on that. So I should have got more, but I didn't have my trade manager on to close it properly. But that's what I was seeing. So now looking for an entry, if we are looking for an entry, let's discuss that. We need confirmation. So we've got a breakout. So you've got kind of this nice little ABC correction, if you will, and we're not quite at the high. So you've got a decent amount of pips before the ADR high from where we're at now. So the ADR high is what, 1,000 pips. The previous high is 800 pips. So we definitely have enough reason to want to continue. We broke above this high, okay? So, and we're breaking above the trend line. So provided we stay in an upward trend, we're looking only for buys. And you can find those buys with this system on the 1 minute chart. You can find them on the 5 minute chart. But as of right now, we want it to pull back down, retest this trend line, or to give us another arrow. Your call. And for the purpose of conversation, we'll draw a line and I'll put it a little higher. We want it to retest at least somewhere in here before we consider a buy, because we don't want to get caught. I mean, sometimes we do, but we try to avoid it. We have to handle it when it happens. But so that's the analysis on US 30. Is everybody seeing that? That's unbelievable.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so
Hey,
let's go to German 30. German 30 was a little tricky because, again, huge momentum. This is a nice kind of ascending little, we have a breakout, pullback, breakout, pullback. I was really waiting for it to, and I'll show you where I got my zones at, but I was really waiting for it to pull back and potentially continue to the downside in and around this area. But instead we're breaking out. And actually it must have been lower because that wasn't even there yet. So it has to be here. That was what I was looking for. So I knew we were consolidating here, but instead we got the breakout to the upside. So for us to be super interested in a longer term buy, okay, what we're going to want, I'm talking from this moment forward. So what we're going to want to see is, okay, we've got the pullback. We need it to break this trend. So no matter how we look at it, we need it to break this trend before we decide, and I'll even give it a little bit more generous room. Let's go to 15, 5 minute time frame, and see how we have a nice strong peak at that trend. So if you're looking for a new entry as of like right now, okay, you really needed to break this one. If you're already in based off of the pending order I had, okay, or based off of something you saw, hold it until it breaks, structure. That's your only decision. If you want to be a sound trader, your job is to hold it until it breaks structure. So that's what I will do. But if you're looking for a new entry as of right now, We broke above that trend line. We're retesting it. If we get the continuation, you're good. If we break down, we're going to continue the downside. So new entries only, you'd be looking to break this. You'd have to break anywhere in this zone. And then again, your target would be pretty simple. Your target would be up here based off of this structure, right? And you've got plenty of room. If we do get that direction and push to the upside, we've got plenty of room to be able to keep that. So that's what we're seeing on that. And then for those of you who are looking at Forex pairs, Euro NZD, I was trying to stay away from US dollar pairs primarily because, well, we have so many, we already have US indices and we don't want to be too over leveraged in the US dollar. Plus with all the news, we don't know what's going to happen with the US dollar. So I'm definitely in favor of a nice little short trade for Euro NZD to the buy. Can you look at my trades? Jonas, I would love to look at your trades. Nothing would make me happier. And you have all the brownie points in the world for asking.
Oh, boy.
Hi, Derek. How are you?
Helping a bunch of veterans, and I looked at the time. I'm thinking today is Wednesday, and my buddy said, "Oh, today is Thursday, man." I was like, "Oh, shoot!" And I was talking to someone in Florida.
Oh, that's awesome. I love working with veterans. I used to work with a lot of veterans. That was like my volunteer thing. That's awesome that you do that.
Yes, ma'am. And I got a happy message from Singapore.
Did you really? There you go. I'm glad. I am glad.
Okay.
I'll catch
mute
you
myself.
Oh, yes, yes. Hey, guys, I have pumpkin spice coffee, so I'm just going to give you the service announcement, and then I'll go over the next settings on the MACD. But I never drink pumpkin spice anything, but I got this new creamer, right? And I put lots of cinnamon in it because I love cinnamon. And oh my gosh, this stuff like puts a smile on my face. This is happy coffee. I just wanted to tell you guys.
Yes, I agree. It's one of my
We can really hear the cheerfulness.
I'm telling you.
I'm not man enough to drink pumpkin.
I didn't think so either, but I think I kind of like it, guys. It's good, especially with cinnamon. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Okay. So real quick, that's what we're looking for. If you guys want to keep an eye out on those trades, keep an eye on it. And okay, let's tell me if you get an arrow on the 1 minute of the 5 for NAS, US 30, or German 30. And otherwise, what we're going to do real quick is we're going to go and I'm going to show you what I did with Scott's new updated thing. And if you guys can see this, it's going to be kind of awesome. So is there any particular trade? I'm going to keep this one going because this is the trade that I'm actively in and not protected on. So
hi, Jenny.
Hey, Rashida, how's it going?
Pretty good. I had a quick question. Could you go back to Nas? I didn't understand completely what you said we were.
Nas is the rapper.
I won't hold it against you, okay? I promise. I won't. I barely get any
Well,
words.
it should be. It should be Nas. There we go.
There, I agree.
I saw him on the interview yesterday.
Because he has money.
He does have money. Okay, show me.
All right, so technically this right now.
Can you draw
I
on the
understand
screen?
about the, let's see if my, I'm using my PC and I have a hard time. If I were on my Mac, I could draw it easily.
See, that's my
Repeat
girl.
that louder, please. Repeat that louder, please.
I said I'm on my PC, so I have a hard time drawing on a PC. If I were on my Mac, I could do it easily. Let me see.
Oh, ouch, ouch.
I knew I liked you. I just knew without even any for information. I just knew I liked you.
We don't like
Derek's about to leave the room.
We don't like profanity on this channel.
Derek, calm down, calm down, calm down. Okay, so I understood everything about this whole flag here. And you were saying that because it was basically a very neutral flag, we couldn't really determine whether it was going to go up or down. And then when it broke, I guess this area is where you said that you got in.
Well, I'll draw a line.
Can you see my orange mark there?
I can. I even saw it. I can.
Wow. Okay.
So I said 11. That entry is closed, so I can't see it. But I said 11,997, right?
Okay. Okay. And so then it popped up and as a reaction to the news. And now are we looking at this as a pullback or as an undetermined because it can still go either way?
Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. So this was my entry. Let's zoom in and let's see where it's at. So that's what I'm saying is I don't know if we're looking at this as a pullback, and I don't think any of us should be trying to make that decision personally.
Okay.
We're breaking this fractal, but we haven't closed. So we still have a minute left on this candle. This could very easily just wick, and this is opening candle too. So
Okay. Okay.
it could just wick down and then just play in this area, which is very likely given this much momentum. But we can't decide that now. So because this was forced by the news and this was information based and not, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm sure somebody else would probably correct the way I'm saying it, but this wasn't just structure. This wasn't just price action. This was done by the news. So I'm not going to count this as a live, okay, now we're only looking for this. I am only looking for buys until I get more correction to sell, but that's what this is. So for now, we would need to break. That's why I had this pink line right here drawn prior to the call. For me to consider any sell on NAS, I need to break that before I take this. Personally, I need to take, that's what I'm looking for.
All right. And then if you're looking for buys, it would have to break that upper fractal that it just formed.
No, that's too much. So if I'm looking for a buy, first of all, I'll take a new arrow on the 1 minute or 5. And again, I'll baby that trade, because when we're buying and there's nothing above us, it's open sky. That's wonderful in theory, but it's potentially, it's aimless, right? It's fishing in the dark. So I will definitely overprotect it, if you will. My next buy would either A, be giving me an arrow. So it means we recross above the 50 kind of thing. It would be breaking back above this structure. So I'm going to use my crosshair to show you all this like ugly zone. So anywhere in here, I'd be looking for another buy.
Okay.
But I needed to get back out of this zone for sure.
Right. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
You are welcome. All right, German 30, guys, is in the cloud, just so you guys know. Again, my stop loss is below structure. I am in drawdown if you guys are too. That's part of trading. We got thousands of pips on Tuesday, so we can handle a little drawdown on Thursday. I'm hoping.
Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning, Scott.
I've noticed something lately, and that is that every time NAS is pushing to all-time highs, we have a substantial retraction from that level.
This.
Yep, it happens virtually every time. Sometimes you'll see a slow grind, but eventually it will turn around and do rather a deep retracement. And it occurs to me that it would be quite possible to make money by looking for the first break below a candle that's pushing at the top. And after it breaks down, it seems to move a substantial amount. You could probably safely go in there and grab, $15, $20 off of 0.01.
Well, that's 700 pips right there.
Yep. Yep. And, look back in history.
It pushes down hard.
Right.
Really hard.
Once it decides it's going to, it does, So you've got this level right here where it's pushing up. That's new all-time high territory. And then it does this big retrace.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
And here,
the only way to measure that would be able to say
right there too. And even this retrace is worth something.
But would you agree with me when I say the only way to measure that would be able to say, okay, so if a candle, so we're making highs, these are higher highs. The first candle that makes a lower, so it has to close below these candles. So for example, this one, this one right here, this is a single candle, so it's not a valid move, but you could take this one because this candle closes below this, right?
Well, let me clear.
Well, to give you an idea, like if we went to,
is below this candle level right there.
Yeah, it is. But that wick would have been ugly to me. I would have been like, we're pushing up.
But thing is that it closes at that bigger box, and then you get the move on the following one. That wick. Sometimes when things move down with momentum, you'll get those wicks to fill. It's a target that price wants to go through.
Okay.
I just noticed there's something that's, folks keep an eye out for that.
That's good advice. Just know that that's a counter trading, you know, that is definitely timing tops kind of thing.
Well, and
So
the
do it
nice thing
carefully.
is that if you take this, your stop loss is here, go for a 1-to-1.
That works out perfectly. Perfectly.
So I just
Nas
noticed with
broke
the
out.
again.
Real quick, I'm gonna go down, guys. Nas just broke out. That's the breakout move to the downside. So now we broke that structure. There's 43 seconds on that candle. Let's see what it's gonna do. If we break that, I mean, that's 42. That's it. Provided we close, and as we need the body to close below the structure, I'll take that trade. And we've got double wicks, so like a tweezer top on US 32. So that's definitely not going back up for a minute. That's price action, guys. That's so that what time frame is that? That's 15 minutes. Sorry for bouncing around. Hold on. That right there. Yeah, you would need it to massively close above that, and that's just not going to happen in the moment. So that's a 15-minute time frame to give you an idea. Not going to happen. So we'll see on there. Okay, so real quick, let's take a look. What I wanted to say, good morning, Scott. I'm glad you're here. I got all my version 13s on here.
Good, because the other one's timing out tomorrow.
It's about time. Well, see? So no praise, none. Powell's talking. All right, I'm reading this. But what I wanted to say was it's kind of awesome. So remember, so Scott heard me talk a lot. I'm going to give y'all a little background for y'all that are on here. I talked a lot and I explained things, you know, extensively. But in general, real easy. So I started on the 5-minute, pop down to the 1. As long as I stayed above on the 5-minute, you know, for example, with the fast MACD, I knew I could continue the trade, etc., so forth. Kind of beautiful, kind of perfect. Not a lot to overestimate, not a lot to fuss about. Just super clear. And as we evolve, of course, we tend to overcomplicate things. We maybe just kind of explain so much that we don't keep the same point anymore. But what Scott did here in terms of the version 13 was allow us to keep the main thing. So if y'all haven't read that book, the 7 Highly Successful Habits book, pretty much you can skip it because the whole book is just about keeping the main thing. So finally, after all this time, we have got there. This right here is the next higher time frame MACD in entirety. So that means that the system, as Scott has labeled it, and the biased and the arrows. So everything you see on here, with the exception of the ADX, he did not code that in there, but I have it taken off and that's fine. So I know which one is which anyways. But every part of this MACD is based off of the next higher time frame. So what that tells you, if we run the 1 minute, for example, is now you have the utmost confirmation. Now you have the most, how do you say, you know for sure what the trend is doing. There's no doubt in your mind. So when you have like really tricky stuff,
we can't see the bottom one. You got it covered with the Telegram stuff.
I'm sure that isn't you.
You can't see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, I'll make sure I'm not crazy, guys. I could be crazy.
I can see it. Are you on a phone or computer?
Hey Scott, I'm singing your praises, but something is, it's because the ADX on this is just wildly large. I might have to do a different one to have a good example. There we go.
That should have auto scaled.
But you see how it's not really auto scaling, so like the whole thing is disappearing. So
it's going back into full history is the thing. It might be that ADX was just so huge at that point, and then MACD it doesn't do it for just what's on the screen, it does it for all of history.
Huh.
So I might need to revisit that. and just do the scaling.
Yeah, this one's not coming through. I haven't seen that happen actually until I go to talk about it in public.
Change timeframes and come back.
So that's better. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's forcing it to go back and recalculate its scaling.
So now if I go to the 1 minute, in theory, it should work?
One would think.
I've gotten really good at these theories, okay? There we go. I gotcha. That makes more sense. I like that better. Okay, so we've got something to kind of go off of here. So this is what the whole point is. If you guys remember very correctly, this is what, as soon as keep in mind, this is all coded and it's got fancy stuff and we've got on track and off track about 150 times. But as soon as the fast MACD on the 5 minute was above the 0 line, which happens kind of back here, and price and the 3 and the 8 technically was 9, is above the 50, I'm looking for an entry. So keeping, the main thing, any of this in here was the entry. If we keep the original strategy, the original rules, tried and true, tested and valid, that's it. That's what we're doing. And now you have something that will allow you to stay in this trade. Okay, because if you notice on the current time frame, you're going to pop below. You're going to pop below an awful lot. The ADX is going to give you a whole bunch of ins and outs. Even the slow MACD isn't nearly as reliable long term. But this right here, the 5 minute MACD, is that reliable. So it will allow you to stay in the trade. It will allow you to either hold it for your 500 pips if that's your target, your 1,000 pips. I wouldn't recommend that. But I mean, you can keep moving it, take profit up in theory. But this will allow you to stay in this trade for a very, very, very long time. And if you use it like that, and you keep using it like that, that's all you would need to do. So this is how I have it set up on 1, 2, 3 brokers now. Then the other, well, technically 4, but the other one is just for the other one's just for teaching. It's a demo account. It's the only demo account I have. So either way, 3 different accounts using this exact thing is all you need. And if you wanted to get really fancy with it, there are multiple very expensive strategies that teach you to only take 5 minute entries based off of the 1 hour, only take 5 minute entries based off of the 4 hour, only take 15 minute entries based off of the 4 hour. So you could do something like that with the way this is programmed. So I'm going to click on this, go here, and show you just so Scott can correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm totally good with that. So if you wanted to do something like that, you would have to pick the time frame that the system operates on, which, if I'm going to say this right, which the system means the actual MACD, okay, not the biased, the actual physical MACD, right?
The MACD and all the trigger arrows are the system time frame.
Okay, so the MACD and all the trigger arrows are the system time frame. The bias in which you're getting that information is the biased. It's
okay. Now be careful here because
I don't want to
time
confuse
frame for bias calculation is relative to the system time frame. So that means that you are doing a next higher calculation for bias, and that's just the center line. And that is 1 time frame higher than what the MACD and stuff is showing on the one below. So are we on the 1 minute right now?
Oh, wait a minute. I clarified with you. Well, so 1 minute now. So this is using the.
Okay, so it's using the 5 minute for the MACD and the trigger arrows. And then the bias line in the center is on the 15 minute.
What?
Because next, the time frame relative, it says relative to system time frame. So this is next higher. Yeah, that's what you're expecting, current. So that will be the current time frame relative to this one, which is the next higher. Confused yet?
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Jenny?
Yes, see?
Oh, hi, Jenny. It's Mauro. Are you recording this?
Yes.
Because I probably need to watch it again. I don't think I can get it straight away.
Hey,
are you going to record it, yeah?
Yes, sir. I might need to watch this again, too. So I'm just going to take a breath, take a sip of coffee, And I'm going to reprocess the question I already asked and see if I can't phrase it in a way that is more clear to make sure we get to the bottom of this. So I'm with you 100%. Okay.
So let me try and do this really simply. So we're on the 1 minute time frame with our chart.
Okay.
And so we're saying that we want the MACD system, which is going to be your MACDs and your trigger arrows, to be created on the next higher time frame. And if we want our bias on that same time frame, then we set it to current, because it's always relative to.
Yeah, I understand, clear.
Okay, so here, let me move this over. So currently with how I have it set up, this biased is technically for the 15-minute.
Yes. Although you weren't really using the bias line, you're mostly using just your MACD, correct?
No, but I was using the arrows.
On the next, or on that bottom one?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, those were technically 15-minute arrows in this case.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah, but those, yeah, the arrows will be filtered by that bias. So you were doing a next higher, remember how we could set the MACD, 11, 12 to next higher time frame or current time frame. What you have this one set up to be when this right here was next higher also was the next higher settings.
So it's two times.
Although it would be the same type of settings, but it would be like looking at it on the next higher time frame.
Okay.
The difficult thing here is that there is only a couple of ways to say the same thing in lots of different contexts. So that we're getting confused. It's like using nothing but this and that. It starts to get really confusing.
I hear you. Okay, so then this is what I want then. Because you're right. For the most part, I'm using the actual MACD. Okay, but honest, I had the alerts program with those arrows. So well, I guess that's fine because I had less arrows. But so now I'm going to bring it back to this. Now I'm going to hit OK. And now I've got a lot more arrows. That explains that. Which is fine. Because like I showed you where the entry would have been, which makes more sense. Because when I just showed you, I was just showing you that, okay, so the original strategy, here I'll draw a line, was the fast MACD starts to come above the 8, or the 3 and the 9 start to come above, and in and around here, that's my actual entry. So there being an arrow here makes a heck of a lot more sense than the fact that on the other version, the arrow was way over here. Way over there. So, okay. Well, that's a good problem to have. So it's slightly more.
So you've got a great deal of flexibility. I mean, you can fix the whole thing to 30-minute and 1 hour if you want to, and then look at them on the 1 minute time frame.
That's what I was going to get to was, okay, it was to have you walk them through that. So if they only wanted to take really safe trades, they could have this set to the 5 minute. Okay. And this one, for example, set to the 1 hour. And again, I'm not part of many groups anymore, but the one that I paid a great deal of money to be part of their lifetime membership thing, I still peek in, and they sell, actually them and a couple other people sell several strategies that are based off of same concept. You're using the 1 hour and the 5 minute, the 5 minute and the 4 hour, 15-minute, 4 hour kind of thing. So you could do the same thing with this right here. So you could literally do everything with this one indicator. Follow some basic strategies. I don't care if you're using Fibonacci, the cloud, my 50 and whatever. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because ultimately you could even put the alligator. You could put quarters theory, pivots. You could do all of that. Any of those things would work, when you're taking signals in the same direction as what your rules apply to. That's it. So not too shabby.
Signals?
Well, like these are signals, So these are signals.
Gotcha.
No. I hear the signals group is going really well too on a different note. So I do hear that good things, really good things.
Excuse me, Jenny, NASA's kind of breaking structure again a little bit back up.
NAS up. Let's take a look at NAS. I'm still waiting for German 30 to play out. So we said we needed to close above this, right? The 1197. Let's see. Let's right click. Oh, hold on before I do that. Beautiful wedge. Let's remove all the objects now. Control A, delete. Does anybody have any questions in terms of the MACD version 13? Anybody at all? So here we go. I'm going to go to the 15. We've got our structure. Anybody at all?
Can you hear me, Jenny?
There you go.
Will, I'm sure.
Hi, I was just wanting to make sure. So we should switch from the 12, the MACD 12 to the 13 because the 12 is getting ready to expire. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That is correct.
And the same license code will apply, right?
Yes. Everything that I released to the group for free use is the same license code. So whatever of my indicators you're using, same license code.
Okay, thank you.
So Scott, for the last version, we deleted from our MT4 completely before installing the 13?
You might as well. Well, you don't need to. I mean, it'll have a different name, so you can drop it in, just that if you try to load it at some point, it's going to mess up.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so for the gentleman who says NAS is doing something, can you mark on my screen what you're seeing? So where we are closing above, we have some room. Okay, let's take a look. We have some room to the top. So what is it you're seeing?
Oh, no, I was just seeing it getting close up there. I was just trying to give you a heads up. So in case something did happen, you have more time to see it. I didn't want you to see it late.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Thank you. I'm just asking, that's all. So here's our 1 minute. We broke above that structure. If we close above this fractal level, okay, we have enough room to take it to the next high. So if you guys are looking for an entry, there you go. There's your entry. And on this one, I probably would be going for less pips just to be super safe personally. So that's going above. Brand new candle. Only got a wick though. No close above. So just a wick still to see what this candle does. As long as it comes above, then you're good. So US 30 took off and I'm still waiting on German 30. So I'm already in that trade and I'm staying in that trade. There's your, nope, it doesn't want to. It definitely does not want to. 1 second. But I'm totally bummed about US 30, you guys. Did anybody catch any of that 50,000 pip move that I just did?
I got about 900 pips off US 30.
That's it, Ricky. Seriously. I got like 150 out of the whole morning off of it.
I caught it.
Oh,
I started early on US 30. I was in it. I was like looking at that at like 7 o'clock this morning. So I got in really early.
I can't even with you guys. Cannot believe it. I cannot. Okay, so see why we didn't want to take it just yet? You need the candle to close. And now look what it's doing. So you do need a body to kind of come up. We need it to confirm. And right now we just don't have it. And this is the 1 minute time frame. So this is real fast. It's going to be real choppy. You're going to see all the price action in a much different kind of a way. But yeah, I do want to take a look at German 30. We pop down below. Let's see. Impulse, we're still kind of waiting. So we're hovering below the next higher time frame, 50, and don't like that at all. I don't like that. So now I have to change all of these then, huh, Scott? Let's see.
Or save your template.
I do. That's what I did last time. I got pretty savvy with it. I'm getting savvier to where I'm not going through 58 things. I'm finally wisening up to say, hey, I'm going to literally copy the template and the profiles and everything and just do it that way. Because at this point, I have so many on here that I would really want to do it right. Okay,
the thing that always slays me is, you go to a lot of work to set up the template, and then when you go to save the template, you realize, oh, I just loaded that template.
Yes. when you do that whole, you dropped your mouse the wrong direction.
Yeah, well, if you click on the template box right there and you see, oh, that's the template I want to save to, click on it, it opens it, and
do it again.
yeah, have to do it all over.
I've
done that more than once.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so first off, I'm going to save this as next time version 3. So we're going to do MACD 13 next higher total. That's it. Yes. Here, I'm going to say with Scott, so I know it's right. Hold on. You think I'm kidding? I have some that I say with Scott and some that say just me. So this way I can be sure of that.
Yep.
Okay, so real quick, there's somebody in the chat who said, could you please show the setting for 5-minute with a 30-minute bias, please? It was posted in the Super Easy Signals group, correct? Gene, like he said, I can't find this. So let me answer the questions real quick in the chat while we're still kind of waiting for everything to decide what it wants to do. Stan, you're in the Signals group. You should be in the We the People group. Ask Donna if not. And I messaged you this morning, so you should be in all of those groups, I'm pretty sure. And then the license code, guys, is not in the chat. Like all you have to do is type in your email, and then it'll email you a specific one for you. Cannot find the signal.
I'm curious. Can you see my arrow? I'm showing an arrow cursor sort of thing. I don't know if that's for drawing arrows or whether that is something I can use as a pointer, which would be really cool.
No pointer.
Don't see it. I'm pointing it next higher.
Oh, okay.
Nothing. Okay.
We see it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, we see.
Oh, there it is. Well, it wasn't there a minute ago.
Okay, so I can click and it does a point. That's cool. Okay.
I sweetie.
Nice. I don't know how you did that.
You do the same.
Okay, so in the annotate tools, there is arrow as an option.
Okay. Gotcha. So to answer everybody else, Gene, you'll get an email for the license code. Stan, thanks for the license info. I mean, the indicator for version 3 MACD. That is in the We the People group, Stan. I'll find the signal. Speaking the template. Jean, no, I don't. I would prefer people not to save the template and then help you share the template. I know it sounds in theory like it would be a beautiful, courteous thing to do, but it really, first of all, it doesn't come through very effectively. 90% of the time, if the indicators weren't saved in the basic indicator folder, or they had any presets or profiles that were slightly different based off of these really tiny, minute things that are different from your house to mine, basically, you could be, investing 6 figures on something that you were wrong about. So I'm an advocate that says you need to learn how to create your own template, drag and drop your own indicators. It's not always fun. I used to beg for templates. Then when I tried to hand them out, I realized how ineffective they were. They don't always come through well. And then you're going to be making big decisions based off of misinformation. And that's a really bad way to be.
And everything also depends for a template on where your indicators are stored inside of your indicators folder. I use a lot of subfolders.
Me too.
And, if you have it organized like that, your templates are not going to correspond.
Yeah, does it depend on the code also? Because I've tried to do that and it messed me up really bad.
Yeah.
Well, define code, that's Barbara, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The license code.
Oh, the license code. Yeah. Well, if you have coded indicators, yeah, then it's not going to work.
Right.
So there's just too many variables for you to do that. But I promise you, if it's worth your time learning to set this up and learning to understand the massive, different settings on this, you'll be much happier. Because then when we talk about it, you won't be totally lost of what does this do? What does this do? What does this mean? So, but we can help you. So honestly, like here, the market went a little crazy. I'm still holding German 30. I caught a little on US 30, not almost any of that entire move. Boo. And I caught some of NAS, but that might be the only trade. So I have no problem helping you. I can help you where I can. I just messaged you the link. So, okay, but back to Scott real quick and Kumar. Just so everybody understands, I might even have Scott share or take over or something, and I'll grab a cup of coffee. But I want you guys to have this information for version 13, because first off, the other versions are going away. Second off, the potential with this indicator, and I know that I speak and I tout Scott's praises all the time because he is kind of, you know, the guru of the brainiac part. But this is honestly kind of amazing. So even though I didn't even understand that I was missing the arrows, I understood that the part that I needed was there. So to answer Kumar's question, first and foremost, Scott, if he wants to have
5-minute signals with a 30-minute bias.
So he would just put the 5-minute one here and put the 30-minute one here.
Or you can set this to 5 minutes.
And this to 30.
And set that to 30 minutes.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Okay, let's try it. Let's do this together just so we can all. Hold on, I gotta quit moving my box. My daughter just got an interview at Kohl's and she's so excited. I got a text message, so I'm all about.
Congratulations.
Who likes shopping at Kohl's? I do.
Don't have leather seats.
Hey, Derek. I signed on my final car yesterday, so it's been several months of car shopping and buying them. It's parked in my garage right now, and it's got my custom plates on there. I gotta do all the other stuff, but I was gonna message you. But last night I was so tired from all the stuff. I was like, I'm done now. I'm good. I'm done.
Hey, it's hard buying cars.
When you have to buy that many for that many people, yeah, it turns into this. And I've been traveling in and out of town, so then they had to put the custom tint on, and some of them they had to order with the factory. It's a mess. Like, so it's been months and months, but I finally got the thing. I'm gonna put my kayaks on, and I'm happy camper.
Beautiful.
Happy. Okay, so 5-minute arrow,
And
30-minute bias.
30-minute bias.
You like that, Kumar? Can you unmute yourself? Boom.
Now, if you change to a time frame that's higher than 5 minutes, it's going to complain at you.
Oh, I'm curious. So let's find out. So we're on the 5-minute now. I'm gonna have to really change this, but that's why I don't trade on this broker, but not to fix everything. Oh, here we go. Here's their alert. System time frame must be equal to or larger than the chart time frame.
So if you change your time frame back down to 5 minutes, it'll go away.
Okay.
So change back to 5 minutes.
Okay. I'll have to come this way.
Still in 15 minutes. You want to go to 5-minute time frame.
Oh, I was like, they wouldn't even let me access the indicator.
And now it's happy.
There we go. All right, so does everybody see how this works? Does anybody have any questions in terms of the version 13?
So using these settings, you can fix the time frame that you're trading. You know, say I want to do this, but if I want to drill down to a 1 minute to try and find a better entry or whatever it is, you can do it that way. You know, so you could be trading 15-minute and 4-hour, and then drill down in on lower time frames to try and fine tune your entries. So your chart can be showing you something other than the system that the MACD is showing you.
So I have just a quick question. Whenever we set it up, will it be set to the 5-minute and the 30 like you have here on your screen, or will it just say current and current? What will
It'll
the
say
setting?
current and next higher, I believe, by default is what it comes up to, which is the same as the default was for version 11 and version 12.
Okay, thank you.
So real quick, just so you guys know, like if you guys can have one that's on here for the current time frame, okay? So just so you see what's happening on the current time frame, and that's the one I would put the ADX on, and you can limit how many arrows you're getting. So like for mine are very limited.
Oh, and ADX will always be for current time frame. Yes. It doesn't do a multi-time frame ADX.
So that's something that, okay. So the one, if you ever put ADX on, it has to be for the current one. and
no, well, you can have it on the other one, and it will just show you the current time frame ADX. As you switch around, the ADX will be switching around.
yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. But these are the only arrows I have on, so I have these turned off. Now, if you're using, for example, if you wanted to do like one of these that has a 30-minute or a 4-hour, and you wanted to take trades based off of that, you could have it set up something like we have up here, and then you could have this one with a lot more entries turned on a smaller time frame, giving you many entries. So like the people who like the 1 minute, for example, you could turn most of these on, probably not the 3 and 9. I would keep that one off just to be on the safe side. We don't want too many. We want to still be wise with our decision making. And then on this one, you would have the 5 minute and the 30, or the 15 minute and the 1 hour, the 15 minute and the 4 hour. And you would always be in the same direction as the trend. This way you're always following the master trend, which in theory, again, everything sounds great in theory, but you're only going to be wrong at the beginning of the trends and the end of the trends. And for the most part, if you're always with the trend, you're going to be right that whole 80-90% of the middle. Does that help everybody understand what's possible with this? So like play with it, get an idea, understand that this will be the system. So the actual big lines, so the histogram part is this, and the triggers come from your system. And then the biased is actually the bias determines the trigger arrows, don't they though?
Yeah, it filters trigger arrows.
Filters, there you go. So it filters them, but then the line in the middle will show you what that higher time frame is doing, and will give you less arrows if it's higher, or more if it's lower, potentially. Does that? So somebody in the chat said, Scott, I'm having issues with the alerts on version 13 of the MACD.
Yep, I'm reading that. If you scroll down to the fractal section. So I have some incorrect language. So display fractal levels, that turns the fractal levels on and off. I should have taken off show fractal break levels. It should be just notify if it breaks. That's the only thing that changes. So by setting those to false, you're turning off the alerts. The other ones turn the arrows on. So if you leave annotate. So if you leave these as true, which I believe is the default, they will, even if these are false, it will still send you notifications. Lorena, can you speak?
Go up.
Lorena, okay.
They still are showing up after I turn them off. Same thing happens when I turn off the trigger arrows for different MACD trigger options. Okay, wait.
Oh, I see. So she's still getting. So Lorena, just a yes or no. Are you getting notifications when you don't want them, or are you not getting notifications when you do want them? That's not a yes or no. Do you want? Are you getting too many notifications? Yes or no?
I'm going to insert real quick. Scott's
okay, get it on. I don't want them. Got it.
But you could have a chart open with a different one on. So I've done that before. I thought it was a mistake on somebody else's part, but I had a chart open with a different version that wasn't quite set up properly. So I was getting all those versions. So if you might have a chart open with version 12 on it that still had the alert issues, or version 11. So make sure all the charts from all your brokers are closed except for the newest ones. That's tip number one. That's my super basic level tip. And then you got Scott. That's it.
Yeah, that's a good thought, though. I hadn't even thought about that.
I do that.
Lorena says she checked to make sure that they were off in the whole profile.
Okay. So can you see my settings? So let's discuss real quick. So my settings are as follows. So I show trigger arrow, yes. I don't want the pop-up on my computer. I don't want a text message, right? So when this says notification for most indicators, that's referencing the MT4 pop-up on your mobile device if it is synced. So on this broker, this is just, again, my demo account I use to teach you guys so I don't mess up real stuff. This one I have turned to true. Everything else right here, I have to false. So this one alone, I don't have this one at true or this one at true. Sound with trigger is false. Filter the 3 and the 9 and the 50 with the fast MACD. I have that to true. Let's keep going down. Can you screenshot and send it? This right here?
Stan, you can screenshot that.
Here, yeah, there we go. So I'll start at the top. Oh, here, let's fix this. Let's make sure this is actually what I have it at. So I have this at next time higher, and this would be current in reference to, man, Scott, you did me on that one. You got me there. I had no idea. Okay, so I'll start here. I was feeling all kinds of smart, and you just stomped all over that. So here's first screenshot 1.
But the other question is, does it really matter? Because if you're seeing results that are working for you, you know, it's okay.
I know, but I want to understand it. So I was still
Yeah,
mostly.
I agree.
This.
I can't stand not understanding things when I have magic indicators that I don't get.
Yes.
It bugs me.
I want to know what I'm doing. So first screenshot 1. So now we're going to go down to the color of the trigger arrow. Let's go to this one. Okay. And then this. Let's go ahead and take a screenshot of this. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave my mouse next to, where was it? Show notifications. Oh, that's already up there. So the only one I would turn on would be the show notifications one, but that's already up there. So there you go on that. This is really handy, Stan, if you haven't used this yet. This hasn't been taught in the recent classes, but this will kind of give you an idea of if your take profit, your ATR, or your points targets are reasonable, if they're going to get hit, how it's going to work. This is a really cool feature to play with. And I know it's frustrating when people say this to you because all you're thinking is, well, geez, just tell me what it is and then I'll know. But your best bet is just to spend a few days playing with this, you know, tweak and tickle every little part of it and get an idea of what this does and what it means.
Yeah, when I first put out the first versions, to put out arrows and things like that, I mean, I was refusing to answer the questions. I said, everything's in the rules of the system, figure it out. That way you'll understand it.
Yes. And it's frustrating. I get it. We're all human. I'm part of that human group, but it's in your best interest to just play with it. There's no questions we can answer that's not going to help you. It won't help you even 1 billionth as much as you playing with this one. So here's your third screenshot. And then I'll go to the fourth one. And that's the last one. So just the ATR. These are the warnings. It'll tell you if there's not enough, if the spread is too big compared to the trading range. So this is going to be a big factor on other brokers, not so much on Hugo's Way, but huge factor on like AFX. This is going to be a huge factor during open and close of the market. And even for some high news events, they open the spread, and session changes, they open the spread sometimes, not all the time. But so this kind of is really useful. If the ADX is really low and there's no momentum, it's not a perfect system, but it just helps you stay out of the trade or helps you wait for a slightly better entry that's ready to go in your favor versus getting stuck sometimes in this like consolidation that you're having many heart attacks over. And then there's one more and it says it's IN. And that's basically saying that all the EMAs are in between the fractals. So that means it's not trending, it's consolidating. Again, not a perfect system, but just it will help you see a little differently that, hey, wait, we're kind of flat right now. I don't want to play. Or if I do play, I want to.
If you see any red warnings on the screen when you are looking to take a trade, you might want to just have a look to see if there are any red warnings. And, you know, know why you're overriding if you're overriding.
Yes. So they all just are kind of super helpful little things. So now I'll go bring this back up here. You have all of those. Next higher current. I got it. Check. Ta-da. So I got quite a few more arrows, which I can deal with. And on US 30, those are all during London. That's not fun. But some of those are New York. Kind of just gives you an idea. So right now you notice how there's no red alerts right here telling us to wait. I pop down to 1 minute. Let's see if I can't find a time frame that it will give us a warning on. So no warning here, here, here. We might not get one at all because it's so moving right now.
You need to change pairs to something like CAD Swissy or something like that, where the spreads are really high.
Actually, you know what? This is AFX. The spread should be kind of high, but the ATR is so high it doesn't matter. So here we go. We got a warning for ADX saying the ADX is low and that the ATR isn't big enough to justify the spread. So it doesn't mean we can't take this trade. It just means we need to be mindful of, hey, that momentum is low. There's no money. It's kind of stalling out.
Because you look at the spread, which is those two gray lines that are moving off to the right of price, and then the size of the candles. It's going to take several candles just to make up the spread at this time frame. Now, if you go up to a 15-minute time frame,
real quick, what is this? So trigger is
that's
5.
your system trigger time frame is set to 5 minutes, and your bias is set to 5 minutes. So same current time frame bias.
But that's technically for this one down here. Yes.
Right. Well, you have this is apparently, look at the settings for this one.
Just out of curiosity, before we move on, current.
Okay, and we're on 1 minute. I don't know why that is saying M5 there. It shouldn't.
Well, because look, this.
Oh, M1.
Oh, there we go. This system warning only comes up for one of these boxes, not both. Which is probably why I didn't catch that before.
Well, that's interesting. Oh, you know what? No, that shouldn't matter. So there isn't a setting that you use to shut this stuff off.
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, there's probably going to be a version 14 coming out.
Well, look, because we're only getting it for 1, not 2, which is why I didn't catch that mistake. I was like, I got it. I understand. I see.
Except that this information would be really nice to have down here as well, because that tells you what you're set to for time frames. So that's important information.
There. Okay, so you were saying do what now?
Me?
Yeah, you said go to the next higher time frame.
Yeah, if you go to the next, go to 15 minutes.
Well, real quick, so to stand this in right here means that the EMAs are inside of the fractal lines, which just pretty much says, hey, we're consolidating right now. We're kind of
yeah, your fractals will be here and down here.
That's a big fractal, so that's why.
Yeah.
And this would be one of those times, well, okay, I can see that. That's a big area I can override. But just having this information, once you actually learn what this is, when I say this is all inclusive, I totally mean it. So to give you an idea, I'll pop this on for you just to show you. And the name of this current indicator is MACD STF version 13. That's the name of this one. But I'm going to turn this to true to show you. And then, of course, the ATM does this as well. But for those of you who aren't ready for the ATM, that's okay. So this is set.
Well, and just to clarify, you know, everybody's going to be confused by S2F if you haven't been around since the beginning.
Yeah.
The name of this group used to be Scalp to Freedom.
That's correct.
And
I was just thinking that.
it got switched to We the People someplace along the line. So technically, I suppose that should be MACD WTF or WTP.
WTF has a different meaning, Scott.
Listen.
That came from Scott's heart.
It's okay. At least no one would know. So even if you accidentally had a typo, it would be a funny typo. This would be the MACD. What the version? Okay.
Well, if I ever market this, that's what it'll be.
Right? Especially at that point, it might be like, what the F, you know, I don't know, version 97, something.
Yeah.
Okay, so Stan, the last thing I'm going to show you about this is this kind of gives you an idea. This is very in-depth. So rather than me spending an hour discussing it, know that you can choose ATR or you can choose points or pips to kind of go for in terms of your target. But what this is going to do is it's going to say, okay, so it'll give you a lot size based off of your actual account. And that's not based off of risk, it's based off of reward, which is kind of unique in this industry. Most indicators are going off of risk and not reward. So
well, you can set it to either. And it's just sort of depends. So if your take profit is at 600 right now, and you want to set your calculation for that 600, you just put 600 in there.
So I'm going to use ATR because it's going to be a lot more viable on a CAD chef pair, which means multiply. My profit is going to be 3 times the ATR. My stop loss is 1.5, and actually I'd make that a little bigger. And then my lock is 1. Multiply this for the lot size. How many pips is the target. So show estimated lot size true. This will calculate the spread. Although honestly, Scott, I want to discuss that with you because I don't know that the ATM is holding the spread well during market session changeovers. It's knocking me out so bad.
Well,
The
spread is set when you open the trade and it's kept.
That's it.
Otherwise, your targets would be varying all over the place.
True. Use equity to calculate risk.
But to talk about your target used to calculate pips or size, that number is, you can do it in ATR or you can do it in points. So, this is the ATR section. And if you set that number to 1.5, now you're calculating by your risk because it's the same as your stop loss is here. If you set it to 3, then you're saying that I want this percentage for my take profit.
Does that make sense? So just to show you what this looks like, it's kind of cool. So I'm going to hit OK. So the dots are kind of ugly. They're going to be a little fugly. That's part of it. So this gives us a sell signal. Like if we would take it, that's during session changeover. We really shouldn't take this one. But this is telling us to buy. Now this one takes a hot minute to play out. Okay. Kind of give you an idea. I've got to go to something other than this because it's not going to work on this pair. I'll give you gbpusd. There we go. So gbpusd, we get a buy signal down here. Our stop loss would be here. Our first take profits here. Scott's in the way here. So if we locked our profit in, we would win this trade. This one right here, we get another signal. And remember, these are always technically a candle late. But again, we hit our take profit, our lock profit. We don't quite hit that third one, but again, we hit our lock profit. So based off of these settings, you can manipulate this. You can kind of change it. You can say, hey, how often will this win for 10 pips? How often will
your stop loss is all the way down there?
Way down there. So you don't actually hit it. I mean, you don't hit it at all if you didn't take any of these in.
So you could have hit the green arrow. Yes. But it seems like we very frequently get our 1 ATR.
That's 1.5, right?
That's 1.
1.
By default, it's 1, and this is 3, and your risk is 1.5.
No, Stan, I don't believe the color of the dots can be changed. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. No.
It's the color. I think they use the bias colors. Go back to inputs. So you've got, these bias colors here. I think that's what it's using.
No, it doesn't, because it's got red, right? Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay, well, scroll it up. Let's see. Yep, no, I just hard-coded them.
Yep, they're hard-coded. Okay, maybe it's too much to ask for this. Is there an indicator list so I can check them off as I go? Okay, that's not too much to ask, Jean. I think that's probably a good idea. So I will add that to either the pin post or the top of the Google Drive. And I'm going to add the mandatory stuff, which here, the mandatory stuff is not what y'all think. So let me turn this. I'm going to keep that on so I know that I tampered with this template. So let's play around for a second. This is the original strategy. This is it. So there's no cloud on here. And actually, I can even take more off. I can take off the fractals, delete. I can take off my crossover arrow. I've always kind of kept that on because I like it, but I'm going to delete it for the purpose of this conversation. Delete. This strategy is very, very simple. This is it. It's not, we add and we take away, mostly trying to help other people see it in a better way. Maybe if somebody does, I can do the same thing. And I've been saying that the last few weeks is I can spell it out. I can highlight A plus B equals Z. And the reality is if you can't see it, then it doesn't matter. So if I tell you it's when this happens, but when this happens to you means something different than it does to me, we're already at 2 different places. So that has been kind of an aha moment in trying to teach other people to do what I'm finding like ultra simple. I lose some trades. I just lost one this morning. But mostly I win. And I think most of it's emotional and psychological, but if I can just teach you guys to follow these rules, okay, it's really, really simple. So this is the entire strategy. It was based off of originally 2 charts. So there was 1 minute and 5. I didn't really play too much with the 15-minute personally, but it was just mostly the 1 minute and 5. And it was mostly gold, a couple of GBP pairs. I didn't really play too much with the indices at that time, but that's all we were doing. And it's ultra simple. Now, yes, there's consolidation periods where if you don't know how to look for this, you're going to get chopped up. If you don't know how to avoid taking all of these false entries, see all this, you're going to get chopped up. But if you can follow some basic rules, you're going to see that, oh my gosh, it works. And it works like most of the time, and way better than 80-90% of the time, that this is valid and it will work only if you're following sound management rules and sound entry and exit rules. But if you're getting in willy-nilly because you felt like it, because you were scared, you second guessed yourself, you did good, you did bad, you're not going to have success. If you can't tell consolidation, you're not going to have success, period. So I will add that to the Google Docs and the pin post, just a list of mandatory and then additional possibilities. There's some people who like Fibonacci. I'm not a lover of it. I see the value. I just don't love it. Some people add quarters theory, and some people add the cloud has been pretty heavy lately, hence the reason it's on whatever chart I have it on. There we go.
Well, I guess what, the thing is that you use what you understand and see, and you can use it in conjunction.
Yes, there you go.
Look for confluence between your systems.
There you go. See, it's that. But yeah, we'll make that. And this is just the regular cloud. I took off the TK cross and the Dickinson. That one, the other one. So I took that one off.
The Dickinson and the Kijun-sen she removed, and the Chiku-sen also.
That's the one. Yep. So this is all pretty simple. It's EMA based. This is also EMA based. And actually, believe it or not, the ADX is even a really odd calculation of EMAs. So it's a very heavily EMA based system. And other than EMAs, the only thing I really look at is structure. So it's all structure and EMAs. That's it. All of it is. And that's it. So, okay. Are there any other questions in terms of version 13?
One question. This is accurate. Would you, are we still then doing, or do you suggest that we use two separate MACDs, one with the current, okay, sorry, one with the current time frame and the other one with the next higher time frame? And the next question also, okay, well, I guess I'll let you.
No, go ahead. What's your next question?
I was going to ask if we're using both, which one do you personally or do you recommend getting alerts from? If I get alerts from both, it might be kind of overwhelming for me. I know Scott once said, if you get too many alerts, you tend to ignore them. I don't want to go that route. Yeah, I think there's a whole bunch.
Yeah, I think I said that too. I definitely am a big advocate of not getting too many alerts, because then your phone goes off and you trust nothing.
Yes, you did say that. Yeah, I remember.
So I can't decide what your schedule looks like. I've gotten the habit of, okay, so when I'm in front of my computer, I like, and I'm getting better at it over time, especially since I'm kind of scaling back from using TradingView and mostly only using these. So if I'm in front of my computer and I have, like, for example, the 1 minute and 5 minute up, I don't mind getting a little alert while I'm active for the 5 minute kind of things. But for the most part, I can see those charts. Now, if I'm away from my computer, I don't want any alerts that are not for the 15-minute time frame. So, for example, let's go to NAS. Let's go to the 15-minute. This is the 15-minute time frame.
And one of the big things about using a higher time frame for your alerts, if you're active, is that your signal is valid for longer.
You don't have to wait like this millisecond before you decide. You have, you can finish, cooking up your dinner real quick and then go take a look, and you'll know that it has some merit still. If you're only on the 5 minute and you finish cooking dinner and whatever else you were doing, it literally in 5 to 10 minutes, it could be valid and invalid and played out. So plus you don't trust them. I like, for mine, alerts that I'm getting currently is I'm getting alerts for the 15-minute time frame on NAS 100, German 30, US 30, and I don't even have GBP USD up currently, but I did prior to now. So it's harder to trade Forex pairs when Well, that's a pretty move, obviously, but not all of them are that pretty. Most of them are like this. It's like, it's not nearly as appetizing. I mean, it's safe. Don't get me wrong. It's very safe, very tight stop losses. You don't have to lose 400 or 100 or 500 pips to take a win, but it's not been nearly as appealing to me. So, but those would be the 4 pairs I kept up, and that's it. Nothing else.
Thank you so much. That helps a lot. Just having so many options, I can figure out and do that based on my own schedule. Thank you.
You're welcome. But
Okay.
honestly, you have to
Jenny,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Could you just help me out for 1 second right here, where you just said that this is really a pretty move? Can you tell me why that's such a pretty move?
This one?
Yeah, the one you said this one was pretty and not so much in there where you are right there. Yeah.
Well, because this one is so I don't know. I think it was this one.
It was that one. Yeah, that was pretty because.
It retested both 50s, right?
Okay.
We popped back above the cloud. We broke below of the MACD. Remember, the MACD is again just spacing of moving averages. But when it retests the 0 line, that was always a re-entry for me. So it wasn't just the 3 and 9 cross as a re-entry, but this was a re-entry for me too. So, having said that, like it's perfect. Momentum is up. Retested both. We just broke structure. So we've got this structure over here that's kind of long lasting. We broke all that. That's very pretty. And it's also pretty because it's like more than 50 pips.
Okay.
So that's a bigger move for a 4X pair, and it's a smaller time frame. So 50 pips is worth my time. But I guess I can't fib when I say I've gotten a little bit spoiled and maybe adrenaline junkie level excited about the US 30s and NASs and German 30. Because win, lose, or draw, I'm done in an hour. Win, lose, or draw. So what? I take some losses. So what? I take some break evens. This morning I missed, boatloads of pips. So what? But I'm done. With something like this, most of the time, I'm not going to be instantly, perfectly, beautifully done in minutes. It takes me, like, let's scroll back and show you. This takes a long time to play out. So this is a 15-minute time frame. So from here, that's 12 to here, this is 6.5 hours to play out. So 6.5 hours to get the same pips that I would have got it literally in less than an hour. It's
in the indices, using the indices.
Yeah, and it's high risk. I get it. And not everybody's super into that, and not everybody's excited about that. And mostly it's fear. But to me, just the use of my time. And if I'm going to perfect something, it's the US 30, German 30, they're my friends. Definitely.
So then my next question would be, what the recommended, and I know it's probably in some of the documents that you have somewhere, if you're going to be in the indices, what is the recommended account size to be able to handle the indices?
So first off, I'll say again, if you're not using Hugo's Way, please do use Hugo's Way. They've got quite a few changes coming, and they're doing cash back per trades. They're doing just a ton of stuff. So please, if you're not with them, definitely consider switching to them. I do have a referral link, which means you get a cheaper rate, and so do I, and you get slightly more cash back. So if you don't have that link, Donna will give it to you. Now, just in terms of brokers, the recommended lot size depends on the broker. So if you have something that's like Owanda, who's a great broker, but they only have 50-to-1 leverage, you need a lot of money. If you have something like AFX, which is 2,000-to-1 leverage, you can get by with a baby amount of money, but the spread is higher. And then
Owanda's even worse. 50-to-1 is only on Eurodollar. Some of them are as low as 10-to-1.
So I've never traded an indice on Owanda, so I won't verify or vouch for that. I just know that you would need a lot of money. And by a lot, I don't know how much, but it's more than a few grand to trade indice with them. So to tell you just across the board with Hugo's Way, because that is what I trade, that's where I compound the most, which are all the easiest. It's 500-to-1 leverage, and you can get by with $100. So I can't decide what your personal budget looks like, and I can't tell you what's best for you. I can tell you that when you're trading high risk, you have a high probability of blowing an account, period, end of story. You have to be mentally and emotionally okay with that. So that means I'm not going to feel bad that, okay, well, that stunk. I blew an account. But when you're trading with smaller amounts of money, in theory, it shouldn't be as painful.
Right.
but so $100 to $200 is plenty in terms of NAS. When you get to German 30, I'd definitely say 150. When you get to US 30, I'd say 200, just to give you that cushion. So at $100, you can afford to lose approximately 2 trades and not blow your account with NAS 100. On US 30, you can afford to lose 2 to 3 trades with 200. And on German 30, you can afford to lose 3 to 4 trades with 200 without blowing your account. Because we all see these beautiful moves. And of course we talk about this is amazing. But if we're ever going to take these moves and actually compound an account, there are some people who are in my position and they're teaching you to get your safe 1% a day. And that's great for them. But most of us, and if I'm wrong, it's okay. But most of the people on here are not looking for a safe 1%. If you're retired and this is fun and you're looking for that 1 to 3% a week, that's good. But what I'm teaching is something here. I'll stop this share and I'll go to this. So new share. What I'm teaching is something quite a bit more aggressive. No, it's not easy. Well, it's easy. It's just not simple. So it's something more along the lines of this. It is very high risk. Now, again, I don't promote that you're going to get your $500,000. I feel like there's psychological levels way before this number. And for you, it might be 15,000. For me, it's in the 300-400 range. 300-400,000 range is my psychological level. I don't know why. And I'm clearly have growing to do, but either way, this is only based off of 82% accuracy. Okay, this is very doable. It's not based off of 100% accuracy. Just to give you an idea of what's possible, but your odds of blowing this are high. So what I tell people usually is once you hit, so let's say you started off with 1 or 200, once you hit 500, split it up between 2 accounts. This way now, you've got your backup, right? So if you lose one, you're already reinvested. Because I don't really think we need as much spending money as most of us think we need, but that's my opinion. So take out enough for a cup of coffee and then double your accounts. From there, keep growing it. So you're not touching account A, you're just going to keep growing it. Whatever your next level of life is. So maybe for you, you have a $4,000 credit card and you hit this number. I'm an advocate of, be trusted with what you're given. So, and that's not an easy thing to do because we get greedy and our emotions step in and, oh my gosh, well, if I'm this far, why would I want to start over again? Don't think of it as starting over. Think of it as, stepping up in life, one more level up. So if you have a $4,000 credit card, please, for the love of God, oh wait, that's here anyways. And you get to here, this is a loss. That's why. Okay. Withdrawal. And that's kind of a perfect spot actually, because the next one you take a pretty big loss. So keep your couple $100 in there. It may be slightly higher than your starting balance. This way you can start a little bit ahead, but pay off that card and then do it again. And maybe for you, it's your car payment. Maybe you have an interest car payment, so do it that way. If maybe for you, it's $50,000 and just keep doing this. But that's what I would do.
And when Jenny speaks about psychological numbers, this is an easy loss to take. And at some point, the losses that you take are going to get bigger than your comfort level. You might say, oh my God, I lost almost $3,000. Or, oh my God, I lost $17,000. But you have to put that in context of what is your equity at. So, but you get down here where I lost, more than I paid for my first house. And, it starts to get kind of freaky. So you hit this point where it's really hard to sit through drawdowns.
I think that, it's so hard to sit through drawdowns, but it's also so hard to, I don't know, it's strange because keep in mind, the action you took to make this $60 is the same action you're going to take to make $87,000.
Exact same.
Only difference is your emotional level to take it. Okay. Your ability to say, hey, win, lose, or draw, this is my day. Okay. I'm going to take, so what? I lost 50,000. Okay. I can deal with this. Like it has to be that mindset because the action you did to earn literally $90,000. And like we just discussed in minutes, same exact action you're going to take to earn $66 in minutes. And this is where, the wealthy and the people with the poverty mindset, this is where they differ.
That's where
they can never get to this. So if you can take a loss, and that means, oh my gosh, this is the biggest lot size you've ever taken on an indice, you are not getting white hair, you're going to grab your cup of coffee, your stop loss is in place. You have decided to be emotionally acceptable of this trade. So if you lose it, you're not going to cry. You're not going to empty your account. You're not going to say, oh, I got to find a new strategy. Oh my gosh, I'm going to listen to so-and-so. I just heard his YouTube video. And if I do this, I would not have lost that 20,000. If I do this, or if I add this indicator that costs me whatever dollars, if I do this, and then all of a sudden we hit any of these losses. And again, your level might be different than mine.
Sure.
But people change it up and they can't do one thing for this many trades. This is only 50 times.
Yeah.
I promise you guys have brushed your teeth 50 times. Y'all have got out of bed 50 times. But it sounds so ridiculous, but people don't do it. 50 times they're doing the same thing, no matter what. I'm sure not every time did you get everything off of your teeth. I'm sure not every time did you floss. And I'm sure not every dentist visit was a win. Okay. Like, I don't know a good example, but I'm reaching here. So bear with me.
I'm with you.
But we have to go through life and say, I'm going to do this 50 times. It's not going to be perfect. Not every day is going to be great. I'm going to make poor decisions. And then even if we knock this down and we say, okay, so let's say we fail this number by, I don't know, 50%, that's still $500,000. If we fail this number by 60, 70%, you're still over 6 figures.
Right.
And this potentially could be done in a couple of weeks. For some of you, you can do it in a week. Some of you will take a couple of weeks. So 6 figures, if you fail this, and when you treat it with that mindset, and I think that's, again, one of those things that I think made a big difference in my world was when I was real young, I'd finished college and I thought I was doing the right thing. And I, went to school for psychology. I got a job that was literally 2 degree levels above what I should have got. And that was mostly with my personality, with my mouth. And it was great. And it paid a lot in theory, or what I thought was a lot. I was young. But then daycare and then their medical payments were seriously $700 a month. And this was a long time ago. Yeah. It's dollar for dollar. I was like, I'm not going to make any money. So needless to say, this company ended up relocating back to California. It was an FDA-based company, research medicine, And I had 2 options. I can go with them. Well, duh, I didn't want to go to California. Or I was going to be laid off and kind of quit, forced to quit kind of thing. So I started looking for different ways to make money. And I realized, okay, if I could fail this person's story by literally 90%, I would still be making more cash in hand than I would with my college degree. And again, that was a better job than I should have got with my college degree. So I realized if I could fail at and I knew how to fail. I knew how to get stuff wrong. Okay, I'm an expert at that. And then I kind of never looked back. I literally have not had a job since I was very, very, very young.
Awesome.
Now, there's something else hidden in this spreadsheet that's kind of important to note. This is the first time I've really looked at this and noticed it because I haven't seen one fully filled out. Here you got a -60, and the prior trade win was 66. It's slightly smaller. Here you got a -108. It's only slightly larger than the previous win. We've got one anomaly in that stream. While here we've got is that a $600 or $800 loss?
600.
600. So that's a fair amount bigger than the previous wins. So that's a little bit of an outsized loss. This one is super outsized loss.
Right.
But you get further down here, this is, only a little bit bigger than the previous win. This one is kind of in range. This one is in range. So you can make it back in one trade. But if you move your stop loss and make your risk much larger, that's when you're not going to survive 2 losses.
Oh, okay.
So your stop loss only moves one direction, and that's toward price.
So moving it up. I had to think about that.
Oh, you can't say up or down because it depends on which way you're trading. So if price is moving up and your trade is moving into profit, you can move your stop loss toward price, break even or above break even. But you don't move your stop loss away from where you took the entry. So to give yourself more room because it's going to come back.
Oh, okay.
Because that's when this number is more like $100,000. or $200,000, you know, it's whatever your account balance is, and you just wave goodbye.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good observation.
Yeah.
You are welcome. I added a few more losses, so 76% accuracy to kind of give you guys an idea. So again, if you failed $250,000, so let's say you failed at this number, and if you can look at this, guys, and say, okay, I know I can get 60%, because let's be honest, I getting 100% means nothing. So a couple of the people I've worked with said I got 98%, but they overprotected so much that they get down here and they've got 14,000, 18,000, 3,000. Not the same thing, right?
Yeah.
We don't
About 60%,
we don't want
right?
yeah, we don't want 100% accuracy. We want profitability. And if you guys can learn this, like, so what? So you never hit this number. Let's say you do this spreadsheet or at a version of a compounding plan, 50 times over the next, till the end of the year. We're in August. That's very doable. So let's say you do it 20 times in between now and the end of the year. Let's say 10 of those you blew. Okay. Let's just throw out some random numbers. And 10 of those, a couple of them, you ended up with 3,000, 18,000, but you got a little bit more disciplined, and only once or twice you got anywhere near 6 figures. That's still more than doctors make.
Okay, hold on now. We have a problem here.
What's your problem?
This loss blew the account. So we couldn't possibly have made $2,600.
Well, I didn't make this spreadsheet. I'm sorry. How do you know that this blew the account? Oh, because the account balance. I see what you're saying.
Your balance has gone negative. So these wins are unrealistic given the amount in the account.
Okay, but what happened? So if I didn't make this, I just told Kat to do 0.01 for every $200. So is the math wrong?
Well, this is the take profit achieved. So those numbers are just entered. So they're not realistic numbers given the account balance.
Wait, hold on. Let's show this column that's hidden here. This one. Oh, there we go. Unhide column F. Well, this was meant to be simplified, so you guys had less math. So let's find out if the math is wrong.
I think the math is right. It's just that when you enter the number for what you made, it has to be in relation to what you actually would have done. Because these aren't real results, right?
No, these are not. No, this was just this was filled out in class or something.
You had $2,400 in your account, and now you took a $2,700 loss. Now you got negative $260, but you made $2,600. I'd like to have that strategy.
That strategy, right? So wait, 0.12 is that's $10. It's $112. Hold on. 0.112 times. Move your thingy.
Scott really did the math.
Hey, no, but wait, Lucky, will you move your arrow real quick?
Yeah, hang on. Trying to find the right button. There we go.
So lot size that you used was 0.12. Let's see. Target balance is 15. That's why that's higher. 0.12, negative 40. And this goes to -1. That would have showed you, yeah.
Yep.
This is just plugging in numbers for conversational purposes. So yeah, that would have blown the account.
Yeah, because before you got there, you wouldn't have taken that loss because the broker would have shut you down earlier.
No, the spreadsheet's wrong. She's had to fix it a couple of times. It has to be wrong because look.
Well, the thing is though that you enter this number. So you wouldn't have made $2,600 on a $400 balance. You just wouldn't have.
Well, no, look, the spreadsheet's wrong. It has to be.
Well, do you enter that number or do you enter this number?
So wait, the math on this is wrong. So it's just a calculation wrong. So if you move where your arrow is,
yeah,
0.02 times 33 should not be this. It should be this. So there's a miscalculation, which is why it allowed it to keep going. Okay. And 84% would maybe be, that's definitely a margin call, I think, in Hugo's way.
Yeah.
That is a margin call. But that's got to be a miscalculation too, because this should have reset. And look, it didn't reset. So this is basing this number, the calculation of it, K31 is here, plus J32 is here, but that's not possible. So where did J32 come from? This came from over there. So what about this one? That's why. So you see how this is based off of here, and whereas this one, hold on, is based off of there. So this should be based off of this lot size and not this lot size. And this, so look somewhere down the line, it stopped being calculated from here and it started being calculated from here. Do you see that? Where it's pulling the data from?
No, I don't know that that's where it's,
it is.
I can't see the formula, so I don't know.
Oh, look, so the formula is coming from C to
okay
32. That's the difference between coming from, click on it, I-27, so that's here, and H-27. That's the difference.
Okay.
That's it. So even with the miscalculations, mathematically, it's still possible. So this spreadsheet is wrong. She's fixed it a couple of times. And I think I can even go back in and fix that, and I'll message her too. But that's inaccurate math. The point is again, even if you fail this, guys, it's still possible. Even if you don't get to this, just keep growing. That's it. No, I have to fix that now. So
thank you so much.
You're welcome. I wonder if, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, are there any other questions, comments, all the other stuff? Now that's gonna.
Hello. Hello, Jenny.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Wonderful.
So actually, like, my questions are quite straightforward, and I think you and Scott actually touched on it earlier on, but it has to do with the warnings on the MACD.
Okay.
So I do know from my notes that ADX in means no volume, and I think the ATR and the ADX together, I think it means the EMA are in a zone or like a consolidation, if I'm right.
Okay, so there's 3 warnings that come up. Number 1 is in, which means the EMAs and the EMAs are in between the 2 fractals. The next one is ADX. That means the momentum on the ADX, based off of whatever you have it set at in settings, okay, is lower than whatever it's set at. So in this case, it's set at 10 and lower than 25. So it's saying there's no momentum. And then the
I see.
is ATR, which means the amount it's moving based off of the spread isn't enough to cover. It's not moving enough for you to decide to get in. The spread.
Okay.
Well, there's a threshold number that is, it says that ATR needs to be this much larger than your spread, or no, it can't be 2 times your ATR should be bigger than your spread.
Okay.
And it's how much movement is it going to take to make up for your spread? You know, in this case, looking at the M15, you can see how small the spread is relative to the candle size.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, but if you get onto some of the more exotic pairs, you'll see really fat spreads, or some of the crosses will be really fat spreads with small movement. Swissy pairs.
Oh yeah, like the Hong Kong indices you guys shown earlier on, was it some weeks ago?
The Hong Kong indices are
okay. No doubt. Oh, I see. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see. All right, any other questions? I'm seeing if I can't fix that, if that's like it is on all the spreadsheets, or it's just that version, or if I messed it up. I could have been me. Please.
Well, it looks like it's using just a relative reference to the other side, and I'd say the better way to do that would be to do it formulaically.
That's what I just did, yeah.
Just take it as, what is my current balance divided by 200, round it, and that's your lot size.
Well, what she tried to do was we were trying to zone it down. So I know it's effective, but there's a miscalculation on the sheet, at least on that copy of the sheet. And
yeah, sorry to throw a monkey wrench into your machinery. I didn't want to see, invalid stuff being used as a premise. So,
No, you're okay. No, but now I have to fix it.
but
So,
welcome to my world.
like I said, I'm all for open. That's how we grow, right? I mean, we can't grow without it. That's the truth. So, but okay, I will get it fixed. And then we'll have to send out another copy, or I'll see if it's just my copy. It could very well be that. So, but all right. Are there any other questions, comments, anything along those lines? Anybody at all?
Good morning, Jenny. This is Ricky. I have a question on GU. What's your structure bias for it overall?
Let's take a look. My structure bias. Well, let's analyze it together. How about that?
Sounds good.
I haven't been playing too much with it. I want to, and I'm working on it in that scanner so I can go live. But with that, most of that's management versus structure. So let's go to the bigger time frame. Huge drop, and it was buying, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone said it's buying, it's buying. My bias is it's consolidating.
Yeah.
I don't like that. So we're at this high over here. So let's draw a line. We're kind of just chilling right here. I mean, we really need something major to happen outside of that area before we make, in terms of long-term bias, that's what we need. There's not a whole boatload of room from where price is at to there. I mean, that's a decent amount of room for a Forex pair. There's definitely some room.
Fundamentally, the pound has been strong lately, but they're going to hit some headwinds because apparently their coronavirus infection rate has gone way up. So they're going through a storm of coronavirus stuff at the moment.
Okay, so if we're looking for it to drop, I mean, that's, I think, the bias overall was for it to keep, everyone's been trying to call these trades nonstop. Hold on. I don't love that at all. There we go. It's the same place as where that is, actually. So I would need it to break out of this triangle first and foremost. Okay, then I don't mean the wick, because the wick was news-based. So nothing of substance happened there. It happened and it ended and it's done. And we want to avoid that. So we're still above the 50. We're still technically in buyer's territory, but we're not making higher highs anymore, right? So that needs to be put into consideration. If we're not making higher highs, we really need to decide a direction, and before we decide what we want to do. So technically, it's an uptrend. It's been an uptrend, but we haven't had much of a pullback. So for this huge move right here, we need a pullback. And I'm not saying we're going to get one because it's still a buyer's market. It's definitely a buyer's market. But before I looked for like a long-term buy, I would want it to break out. And again, I would only be taking it to the ADR high, which it already touched for the day. So I wouldn't be doing that now at all. Yeah, it already touched it. That's why it's red. So that's out. It already touched the ADR low too. So the odds are we're going to play around before it gives us direction. It already touched both the ADR high and the ADR low. It's already done for today, which doesn't change a new day until what? 5 p.m. Eastern time. So next trade here. Next trade. I would still need to break out. I mean, that's still pushing it. And now we're pushing down. What are you seeing on GBP USD?
Can you go back to the candles?
Absolutely. There we go.
All right, so this is what I'm seeing within that consolidation. I'm going to draw on your chart. I've never done this before, so let's see. Hopefully I don't butcher it. Whoops. How do I do?
Click on your draw, and you'll get a bunch of different drawing tools. You can pick a straight line from there or a box.
Yeah, I'm looking for the box. Let's see where it's at. Okay, awesome. So I'm seeing, whoops, how do I make it?
Okay, there is an open rectangle and there is a closed rectangle.
Nice, okay. So I'm seeing support here, resistance here, It's failing to break here. So if it holds, I'm seeing buys, but not like right now, anytime soon, because my trading hours is done for the day. So maybe tomorrow, possibly, I don't know. But I'm seeing like higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and higher highs being formed within the consolidation for right now. But
so you're in case that it could come retest here, or even here, and then you're looking for the continuation for the buy.
Yes, ma'am.
I would agree with that. I mean, I don't know if it's going to come down to here, and if it does break here, I would be looking for it to retest here to sell. So if it breaks your white box here, you see what I'm saying? That would be breaking a trend line for me at least. And I would be looking for it to retest the box before I sold it down to here. And then same concept. If we broke this line, I would look for it to retest and then sell it down. Otherwise, I would agree.
Gotcha. Yeah, those white boxes are just supports. I'm not really seeing sells anytime soon. Well, shoot, I didn't mean to do that. Let's see. I'll get this right.
Messy, but we can see it.
Well,
1 second.
This to me looks a lot like a stop run above this level.
I'll take sell somewhere down here at the bottom.
You would take a sell down there.
Yeah. Break that that low.
Yeah, this is a high, but we're talking higher time frames only, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. But keep in mind, like we're still in this big, I'm sorry, I'll go back, but we're here. So if we look at this big amount, I mean, there's definitely pips in this range to trade it in, but we're still in a range. Like this is all just a big, ugly range of it deciding what it wants to do. That's all. So this is all in range. Whether we bought or sold would be still trading in the zone. So it has to break out of that zone before we really decided continuation for the buy or reversal for the sell. And that's it, from your box to this box.
Right.
And you keep buying. Kind of like the concept of a channel. So if we do a channel here, it pops down and then just buy it up. You know, if it breaks here, take another entry, buy it up. But we might just consolidate it, seeing how we already hit both the high and low of the day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yep.
Well, does anybody else have anything to add for GBP USD? Anybody at all?
Well, we got a strong zone right down there.
Really strong, and that goes way far back.
Yeah, and a lot of failed breakouts on that.
A lot of guys. To break out to the downside?
Yeah. Every time I try here, I'd say, you know, kind of like right down in that range.
But you were saying that GBP has a lot of cases. They might, you know, we might get some weakness, right?
Yeah, we may see something, although this was some business leader projecting something. I find on Forex Factory news feed, not scheduled news. You know, so who knows? Somebody prognosticating.
True. This is true.
But the thing is that it's been doing sustained move up for a long time now. It's due to revert. I'm you know, seeing a lot of toppiness up in here. Oops, keep grabbing the wrong tool. There we go. So here, you know, we have lower high and a big push in the stop run and a rejection down. So it's looking like it's getting pretty toppy up here.
What do you mean toppy?
Like it's pushed up as high as it can. No guarantees, obviously, but your trend line up on the top there is a good one. We do have a channel running. And you're right about that as well. You know, if we take this line and the line right around here. That's a valid channel. There's a breakout of a channel up at the top there on this current candle at wicks. And so that candle's moved from the top and the bottom of the channel.
So if we get a breakout of that channel, guys, we have at least some entry still in the zone. If we get a breakout of that zone, we have some massive room. Because again, if we make this real ugly, I mean, there's a lot of room to, you know, retest even just this portion of the move, this portion alone, which hasn't been retested at all. So this portion would be real nice to see it. So we'll see. But okay, guys, that's enough for today. For those of you guys who don't know that the version 13 MACD might have a new version now, but it's really awesome, and I hope you guys play with it. I will check all the different copies of the spreadsheets. I did email the other one that was requested for the regular Forex, which I'm pretty sure the math on that is good, but it's okay if you find a math inaccuracy, even spreadsheets, we find them. So by all means, point them out so we can fix it. And then I will see all the different versions from the one that Kat created on the indices and see if I can't see if it's on all the versions or just this one. And then I will get one of those sent out to the We the People group. So
Jenny, remind me why there's a new version coming out. I don't remember.
Oh, I think, this.
Oh, yeah, that not showing up on the second instance, right. I'll have a look at that.
Yep.
Question, Jenny, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Akbarat here. The trend line, the channel we've been using, I noticed that it has a gold color and a white one. Does the gold mean anything specifically? I've heard people say, oh, the golden level or something like that. I'm just trying to understand. I understand the breakouts and the different levels of downtrend, uptrend, but the gold, I've noticed the price does bounce off of it often.
Are you talking about the auto trend line indicator?
That's the one, yes. That one.
So take a look. Ready? If you turn your labels on, you'll see what a normal trend line is, what a bigger trend. You'll see them actually labeled, which is kind of cool. So if you go to the settings, some of them have a heavier weight, so they're the higher time frame. Some of them, the gold one is the master trend or whatever. So yeah, that stuff is in there, but you'll be able to see it if you turn the labels on.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
That helps a little bit. Stan, let's see. So how do you get the MACD? Do you have the MACD loaded? Do you have it on your files already? Okay. So have you ever loaded an indicator? Okay. So let's just game this out. Ready? We're going to go here. I'm going to go to version 13. Okay. I'm going to drag and drop it on my chart. I'm sorry, but I'm totally going to load this because, yeah, very important, much easier. I'm going to hit OK. So mine's going to come kind of preset, but then you'll see how all of this works. Always make sure DL imports are checked. Okay. I have it set. So this one's set for the next higher time frame. If I wanted it to be current, I would have it just set to the current. Those are my colors. I use EMA, although the original strategy is SMA. That's my preference for how I see the chart. Totally up to you what you want to do there. Show trade trigger arrows. I have set that to true, right? And then let's see. Sorry, I got another question. I'll answer that in just a second, okay?
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have it actually in my navigator, but when I drag to drop it on my chart, it will not. I test other indicators, like above it has the MACD sample. Drag that, it opens up for me to set the settings. But this particular S2F version, it won't even open up.
S2F version what?
Yeah, this particular, it's called MACD _ S2F V13. When I drag and drop it on my chart, it does nothing.
That's a Scott question. I would, my advice as a not tech person would be to literally uninstall it, delete it from my MT4, and then re-download it. Maybe it kind of got some.
Yeah, that's, I just did that while you guys were doing this GDP pair, and I've done it twice now, and for some reason it just is not working.
Yeah, mine has done the same thing. Actually, I've been trying to load it since we've been on this call.
That's a Scott question.
I've got no idea.
Yeah, mine is working fine. I just did it.
Okay, I just go to open data file, go to my MQL4, go to experts. Actually, I just deleted it again, so I got to go back in here and copy and paste it.
It's not an expert. It goes under indicators.
Maybe that's the issue.
That's probably the issue. So William said to double click it instead of drag and drop. I don't know if that's a valid, but it's worth a shot.
It should do the same thing. They're equivalent, but if you put it into experts instead of indicators, then yes, it would be. It would not launch from the wrong folder.
No, mine is in indicators, but it still won't launch. It'll give me the screen where I can put my license in and everything. And then after I do that and hit OK, it still doesn't come onto the screen.
Can you share your screen?
Hold on just a sec. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me make sure I did that part right. Hold on just a sec. Give me a second, then I can share my screen.
Okay. Stan, let us know how that goes. I'll hang out with you for just a second here. Just a minute. Or I'm going to go get a cup of coffee while y'all share your screen. To answer your question, Jay, what I'm trying to do, and I'm still tweaking this ATM with the ATR values. I'm mentally working on it. And then, of course, trying to back test it through strategy testers. But I'd like to use the scanner on more opportunities than just indices. But for me, at this point, I haven't really, like I said, trading Forex pairs hasn't really been not only appealing, but effective. So it's a little easier to compound a Forex pair because obviously your lot size is going up so much. So in some ways it's easier, but the amount of time it takes makes it difficult to do it quickly, because then you're kind of like we talked about, you may end up holding this trade for, let's go to a 15-minute time frame. This is GBP USD for a moment. So there's a lot of opportunities, clearly, even on just this system. We get the retest, let's say we're above, wow, this is a messy chart, but we're above the 50, we're breaking out. We like what we're seeing. We have room, 20 pips room. So we take this trade. This one plays out immediately. But a lot of these trades are taking a really long time. And this is GBP. So this is reasonably fast for a Forex pair, but it's just been taking so much time. So I'd like to maybe use the scanner on GBP pairs mostly and use that with the ATR value, ATM. So really heavily promoting that ATM because when you can find a good system, so we know the scanner is not perfect. This system that we're talking about that I created is not perfect. No system is perfect, but if you have good management and good rules, literally the sky is the limit. So my idea that I talked to Pat about was to use that scanner on screen. It would just be the scanner. Behind the screen, I would also have, my MACD, my other screens, that stuff I see. And I would be taking trades that meet the rules the people in this group would obviously know about. And then of course have the ATM and the scanner, the only two things on this chart kind of thing. And that's what I'm looking to do. So personally is just get a couple of pips, but then we get into that whole, how many pips is a couple of pips and is it enough for where the stop loss needs to be? So.
I got mine to work. I figured out it was human error. So after I dropped my license code in, I just hit OK, and above the license code, I hadn't put
your email
address in. Yeah, I hadn't put that in. So after I put the email address in, after trying several times, then it popped onto my chart.
Well, thank you for being honest. God knows we're all making human errors, and we never really talk about that side of things. So.
Okay, I got it to load to change the parameters here, but I heard it covered earlier, but I was distracted with something else. Where do I get my license code?
Okay, make sure your DLLs are enabled on the Common tab. Then you put your email address in where it says email address.
Yep, in the inputs.
And then don't put anything into license code.
Okay.
And say okay.
Okay, got it.
Then the system should almost immediately email you the license code.
Okay, gotcha.
And once you get that license code, if you use my multi-time frame moving average or the ADX histo or ATM, it's the same license code for all of those.
Yeah, I'm extremely new, so a lot of what I'm hearing is very foreign to me.
That's okay.
I don't have any other indicators.
What I'm saying is that once you get this license code, you don't need to go through this step to get a license code for any of the other indicators.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Same license code will work.
All right, so I haven't gotten an email yet. Okay, there it is. I just refreshed. Got it. All right, so I'm copying that.
Yep, so a good practice if you are copying and pasting the license code is to double click on the code. It will highlight just the code and no spaces. Sometimes if you click and drag, you'll get extra stuff in there and it will confuse things. So just double click the code, copy it, and then you should be able to paste it in. Everything will be going.
Okay, let me try that. Okay, gotcha. All right, let's get back here. All right, so now the indicator is actually loaded. Where do I put this license now? If I right click on properties.
Yeah, right click on properties.
It's just bringing up the standard chart properties.
Okay, you didn't quite get on it then. I'll close your chart properties.
Do you want to
go right down onto the center line, or go onto one of the lines on the indicator and hover. Don't click, just hover until you get it to pop up and say something about the MACD.
Okay, there we go. Gotcha.
So now you just go back to your inputs, double click in the space for the license code and drop in the code.
Okay, and then it automatically pops up. All right, and then I'll just go back through those screenshots and set the parameters to those that I took.
Yep. If you're looking to scalp, okay, if you're looking to kind of do the original strategy, what you're going to want is the current time frame, okay, current biased. If you're looking for a little bit less, a little bit late, but a little bit more accurate, okay, arrows, for example, you're going to want to set it to the current and the next higher time frame, right, Scott?
Yes.
So current for scalping.
Well, these are both for scalping. So in theory, you could use these on 1 minute, on 5 minute. You can have two of them on here like somebody was asking. Totally up to you. Best case scenario is you don't want to take them when they're disagreeing, right? You want to be following the master trend, the higher time frame trend, if you will.
So next higher time frame. So current and then next higher time frame. So what you're saying is if I have it on, let's say a 5 minute, I want to do 5 minute and then set those for 15 or 1 hour.
Well, you just say to next higher time frame for the bias.
Okay.
And it will just go from wherever you are. That way, if you change to a 15-minute time frame, your signals are now coming from the 15-minute, but your bias is coming from the 30-minute.
This way, even when you switch around time frames, it'll continuously work. So, for example, if I switch from one time frame to another time frame, I could technically scalp on the 1 minute and say, hey, I'm taking this trade. Hey, I'm taking this trade. It lines up. Hey, this is kind of a mess. I don't want to be playing in here. We're in the cloud. Even right here, I don't want to take this because structure is too close. So we can take trades, off of whatever time frame, doing it that way.
So Jenny, is that another ADX that you just dropped on top of that?
This is version 13. It has the ADX on there.
Okay, it's not showing up on mine.
The ADX is the red line, right?
The ADX is the white line. So
the white line. Okay, yeah, I don't have the white line on mine.
You have to select it. There's an ADX section down lower.
Okay, so the chat, yeah, I'm recommending, so again, just to keep things the main thing, this is the strategy, as simple as it is. It's not complex, okay? But as people evolve, and if they don't want to have two charts up, having separate sets of information is kind of nice, and you have a lot to gain from that. So to answer your question, yes, is I would have one for the current time frame saying current, and the other one would say next higher time frame current. In order for this, now this entire MACD is based off of the next higher time frame. This entire MACD is now officially the 5-minute time frames MACD. So for example, if we took this trade, okay, and we said, okay, we're going to keep baby stepping it. We're going to just, we don't have a take profit set, whatever. We're going to just keep letting you see how far we can ride. We know that we can stay in the trade, okay, for a little bit longer. We know that either A, we're hitting our targets, B, we're going to stay in until we have a reason to get out. That sort of thing. So it just really gives us enough information to either hold it, because people, they freak out, they get out of their trade for no reason. And I get it, it's fear and emotion, but for no valid reason, if said more accurately.
Well, and I guess that's the point of testing this on a demo until you build that confidence.
Honestly, so I never played with demo much, but I definitely respect those who have the patience for it. I would recommend staying with demo until you are above 70% accuracy. But 70% accuracy only has any value is if you've done the same thing. Now, if you willy-nilly took trades off of this system and the scanner and, you know, Joe Blow from YouTube and whatever, because you felt like it and it was Tuesday night, if you're doing all kinds of random things, 70% accuracy means nothing. If you were doing all kinds of random things and they're not the same steps, then 80, 90% accuracy means nothing. So when we discuss accuracy percentages, we mean I can drag and drop each entry and say it was rule based off of this system. I have a trade journal that verifies my management is duplicatable, because if I one day feel like this and one day feel like that, and I manage this differently, I can't duplicate that. So if you want your demo account and the time that you're investing to have any value at all, it's very important that you are doing something that is duplicatable. So, because let's say you compound your demo account to be 7 figures. That Monopoly money is not going to buy your Porsche. So you have to be able to duplicate it, right? And that means I manage it. Okay. Whatever that is, I'm here. So I hope that helps you understand a little bit. So please, if you're going to demo this, demo in a way that transfers, because a lot of people spend lifetimes in demo playing and they have numbers and they can even talk well more eloquently than I can. But if the numbers and the stuff they say has no value, it doesn't transfer. It is not duplicatable, and it won't matter.
Not to mention, if you panic when it's your real money, you get scared. And I think when it's demo, it's very easy to be like, oh yes, steps A through C. And your real money, you're like, oh my God, this is $200. And then you hesitate and you're slightly off from what you were doing on demo.
Yeah, I don't know what y'all's personal budgets are like, and this is kind of where my mindset is. And if the few people who are still hanging out can hear this, it's probably worth its weight in gold. But most of us spend more than $100 a month on our cable bill, on our shoes we probably didn't need, a manicure that probably wasn't necessary, McDonald's. I am guilty of coffee, maybe not McDonald's, but definitely coffee. Most of us spend $100 a month on some Just Fab or Boxy Charm or weird subscription to stuff we don't even know we're paying for. So like if it was me and I had to choose between demo trading and blowing $100 account every single month for the next 12 months, which costs $1,200, right? So we can do the math. I am definitely going to choose blowing a $1,200 account. And that's what I mean by creating a budget, is if you treat it like it's a budget, it's not so stressful. It's like, okay, so I blew my $100. Fine. I can't reload it until next month unless I'm going to Uber for my extra money. Like you have to be self-disciplined. Don't be the fool like I have been, who just kept, reloading it. But if you do this in a constructive way, that's $100 or $200 a month. I would much rather you blow $200 in real money, $100 in real money every month over and over again until you get it right, than watch you flip demo account after demo account after demo account. And then you spend 18 months of your life, and that's time, right? That's time invested. And then at the end of that, you can't grow a $500 demo, a real account to save your life. Because the biggest part of trading, and I am not the only person to say this, people, again, trading in the zone, Mark Douglas, every really good investor, Warren Buffett, they discuss the emotional side of things more than they do the numbers, more than the strategies, more than the stock picks, more than any of it. So you can't gain the psychological aspect on demo like you can. So even if it was only $2 you lost or $30, again, most of us blow that on lunch we probably didn't need. That's just my opinion though. So as I put it out there as an option for those of you who have ears to hear. But, okay, we've been on for a while. So the last question's in the chat. I'm not going to be using Simplicity. I did give my word to use the scanner. I don't hate the scanner. I like it. I like it for the sense of a high volume trader. I'm looking at the 1 to 5 minute, 50-50 on that. It's mostly the ATR that I need to kind of figure out. Maybe I'll see if when Scott gets back from his trip, we can kind of game out some ideas on how to make that the most effective, because ATR is what I'd like to use. This way it's applicable to all different pairs. So we can really bust out 30 pairs and pick the best one. If we got 4 alerts, we would pick the best one. The hard part about Forex pairs is once we're in one, you have to stay in that one. And if we're high risk compounding, most of the time you won't be able to choose a second trade. Your only option is to hold that trade and wait, which is a little bit nerve-wracking. But I've seen other groups have success at that, who literally one day a week they trade USD CAD, and we all know that is not a fast mover. They get their 10 pips, they compound to $70, 70,000, and then they walk. So it's definitely an effective way of doing things. But Trader's Way isn't bad. They're not my favorite. If you love them, you should keep them. Their spreads are good. Their leverage is good. My preference is definitely please consider using Hugo's Way for multiple reasons. It keeps all of what we're doing in this little group. It's also like kind of cool and documentable, because then I can show, all my clients have withdrawn multiple millions of dollars at this point. And you get a discount, I get a discount. It's a win-win. And then now they're doing cash back. So my account just got upgraded or something. So I don't even know what that means exactly, but now I can give away more cash back. And now the clients who work with that affiliate link get slightly better rates, or I don't even know. It's all marketing, as you guys know, but it's still pretty cool. The best part that for me is it's a good broker. I don't like the new chat. It's not great. I'm not going to fib. It's not as user-friendly as it used to be, but they do handle their business. They will fix a problem. They withdraw without argument. Trader's Way. If you've ever tried to withdraw a big amount of money with Trader's Way, then you would already know that it's not the best broker. But if you haven't got there yet, you probably should avoid Trader's Way, because they can and will hold your money for 90 days because they felt like it legally. And they don't have very many indices, so maybe skip them. And Jean, yes, I'm putting both on the chart. This is kind of how my chart will look if it's just us. This is it. Nothing fancy, nothing major. I did fix this, which I didn't know was wrong. The only difference is a couple more arrows, not a whole bunch either, so I can deal with that. But that's it, guys. That's enough for today. I hope you guys all have an amazing day. And other than that, take care. God bless and happy weekend.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, guys.